Today we continue our project with Shohin material made from inexpensive pots that we craft ourselves, and some of the cuttings and seedlings that I have so many of. I wanted to do this project to have a happy home for them as they grow out. I'm intrigued by plants that stay in small containers their entire life, so I'm hoping some of the species that I've chosen, such as black pine and Shimpaku juniper, can perhaps live in these little pots for the rest of their life. So this time we've tried two different molding techniques. The first one we're going through here is using sand as the mold. As you can see, as I'm working the sand, I'm using some water to keep it moist. It really helps with the curing of the concrete. I have a little plastic tube at the top of the mold that's used as the drainage section of the pot. And as with anything, the more time you take on these, the better the end product. I'm still going for that wabi-sabi aesthetic. These pots aren't meant to be perfect, but I do want them to look like pots and not totally avant-garde. So having a slightly rounded lip on this version, having some basic symmetry, and then some flaws or imperfections that you can appreciate as part of the process we used to build it. So I took some time here to make sure the mold and the concrete matched up nicely, and there's a nice flat space to lay the pot down eventually. The benefit of this version versus the version I did with the molding clay is that it's fairly easy to reuse. You don't have a perfect mold or identical mold every time, but you develop a process. You make a little ball, have something circular that gives you a rough idea of the shape, and you're able to generate a pot rather quickly. The next approach we took was using some silicone as a molding agent. And what I did, but ahead of time, was take one of my small Shohin pots that I really like and mix some simple 2-part silicone mold together and put it in the pot, take it and remove it, so that I had something that was more permanent in terms of helping me to shape these pots. The concrete I'm using here is a little bit wetter than the prior version. I had to do that because of the size of the pots. They're a fair amount smaller than the other ones. But as you can see, when I go to do the mold release, it's really quite simple. Now, some of the drawbacks of this approach is that you have the very flat rim. And at first, as I was thinking about this project, I thought that might be something I didn't like. But on these two examples, I actually kind of like them a little bit. And using a rough piece of steel, such as this screwdriver, to round off and shape the edges, provides, makes it look pretty cool for what it is, a cheap and inexpensive pot that I made myself. With the silicone mold, I took the pots off the mold a little bit earlier than the other ones, just for that reason, to be able to work them. So one final step here. Last time we mixed this grout with the concrete as we built the pots, and this time I thought, hey, if this grout could stick to tile and ceramic in my bathroom for decades, why not try to put it in some of the recesses here? And the worst case scenario, we have some mottled effect, or some areas that have lighter and darker coloring, which wouldn't be the end of the world. Kind of enhance the shades or the shadows of the pots themselves. Again, I mentioned it in the last video. This is just your normal tile grout that you'd use to refinish a bathroom. I had more than enough to last 10 lifetimes of bathroom remodels, and so I really love to reuse materials where I can. So here's an example of some of the junipers that'll make their way into these pots in the spring. And oh yeah, there's one final step.